Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking the ultimate superpower fantasy, invisibility, and, well, we're going to use real science to completely destroy it. So, if you've ever daydreamed about just disappearing at will, you might want to rethink that after we uncover the somewhat harsh realities of physics and biology.
Okay, let's dive right in and be honest for a second. If a magical genie popped out of a lamp right now and offered you just one superpower, what would it be? Would you go with flight, super strength, maybe teleportation, or, like so many people, would you choose invisibility? I mean, it kind of feels like the ultimate cheat code for life, doesn't it?
You know, most people pick invisibility to sneak into top-secret movies, listen in on some juicy gossip, or just dodge that awkward guy from high school at the grocery store. But according to the strict laws of physics, biology, and chemistry, it wouldn't be some fun superhero movie. Actually, it'd turn your existence into a horrifying, disgusting, pitch-black nightmare. Let me show you exactly why.
Part 1. The blindness paradox.
Let's start with the absolute deal-breaker of this entire superpower. It lies in how human vision actually works. Right now, as you're taking in this information, light is bouncing off objects and entering your eye. It has to pass through your clear cornea, travel through your lens, and then, and this is absolutely crucial, it must be stopped and absorbed by proteins called rhodopsin in your retina. When those tiny light particles, those photons, get absorbed, they trigger an electrical signal that travels straight to your brain to create the image you see.
So here is the catch. For you to be completely invisible, light cannot bounce off you, and it cannot be absorbed by you. It literally has to pass straight through your body, like water through a fishnet. But if it passes straight through your body, well, it passes straight through your eyes too. That means 0 photons hit your retina. You are left in absolute, total darkness, instantly blind. The only way you could actually see is if you kept your eyes visible, which means to everyone else, you'd look like 2 wet, bloody, floating meatballs just hovering 5 feet off the ground. Yikes, right? Not exactly the stealthy vibe you were going for.
Part 2. Physics and biology nightmares.
Okay, so let's say magic somehow fixes your eyes so you can see. Unfortunately, we've still got a massive biological and physical disaster waiting for us the second we step outside. We have to deal with our first major physical hurdle, the refractive index. This is simply a measurement of how light slows down and bends when it hits a liquid or a solid. See, when light travels through space or air, it goes incredibly fast. But when it hits water or glass, it slows down and bends, a process we call refraction. This is exactly why you can see clear glass. The light bends at the border where the air meets the solid object, and that creates reflections and edges.
Now, the air around us has a refractive index of roughly 1.0, but your human tissue, it's about 60% water, completely packed with proteins and fats, which gives you an index of around 1.4. Because of this difference, if you magically turned all your cells completely clear, you wouldn't actually disappear in the air. You would bend and distort the light all around you. You'd essentially look like a giant, shimmering, human-shaped blob of clear glass, or kind of like those wavy heat lines rising off a hot highway in the summer. People definitely wouldn't miss you. They'd stop and stare.
But it gets worse. Think about your daily routine. The moment you eat lunch, that food doesn't suddenly adopt your superpower. It's not part of your genetic code, right? So anyone walking by you at the park wouldn't see a person, but they would absolutely see a chewed-up slice of pizza sloshing around in a pool of invisible hydrochloric acid, slowly turning into mush inside your floating, invisible intestines. And then there's this staggering number to think about: 39 trillion. That's the estimated amount of non-human microbes, bacteria, and microscopic skin mites that currently cover your body and live in your gut. They've got their own foreign, completely visible DNA. Since your power wouldn't affect them at all, you would basically look like a filthy, glowing, floating dust monster held together by sweat, pollen, and gut flora.
Part 3. Surviving the real world. Now, if you haven't totally given up on this superpower yet, let's look at the incredibly dangerous physical hazards of simply trying to survive a normal day in a bustling city. First off, your clothes don't turn invisible. If you wear them, you just look like a floating Halloween costume. So to actually be stealthy, you've got to walk around stark naked and barefoot. We humans are endothermic. We generate our own heat, but we rely heavily on clothes to trap that warmth. On a chilly autumn day of just 40 degrees Fahrenheit, this timeline is your grim reality. Severe goosebumps in 3 minutes, uncontrollable shivering in 10, and dangerous numbness and mild hypothermia in just 20 minutes. Plus, imagine stepping on a piece of shattered glass barefoot. Your blood would suddenly just appear out of nowhere the second it hits the cold pavement.
Plus, we totally take for granted that people can see us. We avoid pumping into things because we have visual cues.
Without people seeing you, a city bus doing 35 miles per hour will plow right into you in a crosswalk. Modern automatic sliding doors at the grocery store? Yeah, they won't trigger because their optical sensors won't catch your reflection, meaning you'll walk face first into solid glass. And animals? A dog couldn't care less if you're optically invisible. They'll hunt down your scent and heartbeat from 50 feet away, barking at a total phantom. Meanwhile, mosquitoes will eagerly track your thermal carbon dioxide cloud for an all-you-can-eat buffet.
You might be thinking, hey, what about those high-tech metamaterials? Sure, scientists are engineering cloaks that seamlessly bend visible light around an object. But light exists on a massive spectrum. If you try to cheat a modern security system with a light-bending suit, you're going to fail instantly. Why? Because the 9.4 micrometers of thermal heat your endothermic body naturally radiates will completely bypass that visible light cloak, lighting you up like a bright neon bulb on any standard thermal imaging camera.
Part 4. The mental toll.
So, stepping away from the frostbite, broken bones, and city buses for a second, we really need to address the deeply disturbing psychological decay that comes with having this kind of power permanently. Over 2,400 years ago, the great philosopher Plato posed a terrifying thought experiment in a story called The Ring of Gyges. It's all about a simple shepherd who finds a magical ring of invisibility. Plato basically argued that without the social accountability of being watched by our peers, human morality, ethics, and empathy rapidly collapse. When people know for a fact they can't be seen or caught, toxic behavior absolutely spikes.
And modern psychology actually completely backs this up. Just think about how vital social feedback is to your daily life. A quick smile from a stranger, making eye contact, a warm handshake, a high five. Permanent invisibility strips every single bit of that away. You become a paranoid ghost, living among the living, constantly eavesdropping on what people really think about you, trapped in an endless void of extreme isolation and loneliness.
Part 5. Nature's Invisible Masters.
So, after exploring all this doom and gloom, is true invisibility just totally impossible? Well, not quite. But nature achieves it by strictly following the laws of physics, instead of trying to break them with magic. Take the Central American glass frog, for example. While it rests, its tissues become almost entirely see-through. But how does it handle the glaring problem of highly visible red blood pumping through its tiny body? It brilliantly hides up to 89% of its red blood cells tightly packed inside its mirror-coated liver while it sleeps. This way, predators looking up at the leaf just look right through the frog's clear tissues.
And down in the deep ocean, we see another brilliant workaround. Creatures like deep-sea comb jellies are made almost entirely of water and transparent collagen. Their bodies perfectly match the 1.33 refractive index of the surrounding seawater. Because the light doesn't change speed when moving from the water through their bodies, there's zero distortion. It brilliantly illustrates that nature only relies on highly evolved optical illusions, not true physical invisibility.
So, to recap this explainer, we've learned that gaining biological invisibility is effectively a curse. It guarantees you total retinal blindness. It turns you into a weird glass-like optical distortion. Everyone around you can see your digesting sludge and skin mites. You'll freeze to death in the nude, get hit by a bus because no one can see you in the crosswalk, and ultimately, the complete lack of human contact will probably drive you completely insane. Knowing the horrific, undeniable scientific truth we've explored today across physics, biology, and psychology, I have to ask you, the next time a genie pops out of a lamp and offers you a wish, shouldn't you just ask for flight instead? At least then, all you need is a warm jacket and a good pair of goggles.
Please like and subscribe.